people are very happy at the fact that SOPA and PIPA, for the time being, are not an issue, right? However, there are other two, I guess, acts that are coming up that people are debating about right now, and one of them is known as the Anti-Counterfeit Trade Agreement. It's actually an international treaty. It's not legislation. And the second one is legislation here in the United States, and it's known as HR 1981. It's the Protecting Children from Internet Pornographers Act, which sounds like something that everyone can agree on, right? Except, no, it violates your freedoms.
The minute I hear that, I think, yeah, whenever they say they're trying to protect the children, watch out. Okay, so of course it turns out in order to protect the children, what they're doing is collecting all the websites you've been to over the last 18 months, and just in case you go to any child porn sites. Now wait a minute, aren't you supposed to get, some sort of procedure in order to do an investigation on someone, maybe get a warrant, etc., to collect, to even, forget looking at it, to even collect information, right? Oh, those are the old days when Americans had rights. No. What they want to do, and this hasn't passed yet, but what they would like to pass is, under the name of protecting you from child porn, and I'm sure terrorists, collect all of the websites you go to so they can use it against you at a later time.
Now, Lamar Smith wrote the legislation.
So you know it must be good.
And so, of course, it's disastrous because I think back to the days when we would complain about wiretapping, like illegal wiretapping. And like, who cares about illegal wiretapping at this point? Like, now the government is pushing to make sure that internet service providers immediately hand over all this information about you, which websites you visited, what your activity is online. You're treated as a criminal and you have to prove yourself innocent. Right. That's basically the issue with this.
Yeah, and look, whether it's the international treaties that allow them to, do this quietly behind the scenes without the legislation, or it's the legislation they're pushing, it sucks. But we have to be ever vigilant because it just keeps popping up and keep popping up. And part of the reason for that is the government always wants more power, right? So if you're a libertarian or conservative, you should definitely join us in this. And a lot of them, of course, did in SOPA and PIPA, and I'm hoping they do likewise here as well. And the second part of it is that corporations always want an advantage. And Danny Goldberg wrote this piece that mentioned us, so I read it today, and he was former head of Air America. And he's a person involved in the music industry, solid progressive. But he says that I'm overreaching when I talk about how the entertainment industry wants monopolies. Danny, I love you, but you're totally wrong. They do want monopolies. And it's not as simple as, okay, we're going to shut down all of our major competitors. No, it's more subtle. Of course, they're not going to say that, right? And do they have a legitimate issue in fighting against piracy? Of course they do. But if that's what the only thing they cared about, they would have written legislation. And believe me, they're the ones writing the legislation and handing it to their boys in Congress, okay? They would have written legislation that said, hey, let's go get the pirates, instead of ones that are so broad, it lets them shut down any website they want. But I'm worried that you don't understand how modern day politics works. I don't mean to be too arrogant in stating it that way. But the reality is, I don't think President Obama understands the way modern day politics works. It's not a matter of ideology. He keeps trying to reason with Republicans. You can't reason with them. They're corporate machines. You can't reason with the guys who've been bought by the major movie companies. They're machines. So they don't care what your idea is. They're not looking to see, let's have a reasonable, balanced approach to approaching piracy. No, they say, where's my check? Oh, there's my check. Great. Now, what do you need me to do? Oh, your lawyers wrote up this bill? Fantastic. I'll put it in. Who are we fighting today? Child porn or terrorists? Or pirates? But they're all very, very scary and somehow wind up giving you an enormous competitive advantage, and that's what you paid me for. If you don't get that, I think, honestly, you're being naive.
So ACTA, as I mentioned, is the Anti-Counterfeit Trade Agreement. And it's an international treaty that, by the way, Obama signed without even advising with Congress at all about it. So right now, a lot of constitutional lawyers are looking at this and saying, hey, yeah, I don't think that's constitutional. But who cares?
A lot of good that'll do. Oh, wow, right. Really? Unconstitutional. That's something new. That hasn't happened in the last 10 years.
Another thing about ACTA that I think is worth mentioning is the fact that it's been very, very secretive. Okay, a lot of these meetings have happened behind closed doors. There's been very little publicity about them. And in fact, the only reason why it's on the radar to a very minimal extent is because WikiLeaks had released documents about it. So here's what we do know. Even though the precise terms of ACTA remain undecided, preliminary documents reveal many troubling aspects about the proposed agreement, such as removing legal safeguards that protect internet service providers from liability for the actions of their subscribers, in effect giving internet service providers no option but to comply with privacy invasions.
And they come and they come and they come and they come in tidal waves until you fix the problem of the politicians being bought in the first place. You're never going to fix any of these problems, okay?